Laura Vandenberg, thank you very much for speaking to me. You've been nominated for the Frank O'Connor Prize this year.
Yes.
Can you tell me about your impressions of the festival so far?
Oh, I think it's just been incredibly lovely, and that Patrick Cotter and the Munster Centre have done an amazing job of organising it. And this book that I'm nominated for, it's my first book. So is it, an emerging writer. It's an incredible honour to be here and to be in such wonderful company. So I think it's been a completely magical experience for me and one that I've really loved.
Great. Have you written short stories as long as you've been a writer?
I have, yeah. I started writing short stories and I love stories. My first book was a story and I'm working on a novel now, but I'm continuing to write new stories as well.
Is it a form that you feel a particular commitment to?
It is. I mean, I think the story, I think a really great story, and some of the stories that I really love absolutely can have the, the gravitas and complexity of, a longer work like a novel, but also you're, trying to achieve this sort of compression as well. So I think it's a form when an author really does it well, it has an effect that's like no other.
Great. Why do you think it's important that short stories are brought to the attention of general readers?
Well, I think because novels maybe are a bit more in the cultural mainstream, and because sometimes I think readers think they want to become invested with a set of characters and stay with them, they're not as inclined to pick up story collections. So I like to hope, as a lover of the short story, when people in the public, when stories are brought to their attention and they start reading them, that they too will discover what a wonderful form it is and be more inclined to pick up a short story collection at their bookstore.
Great. As an English lover of the short story, I feel slightly peripheral here because it's mainly Irish and American people. We've still got a lot of work to do in England promoting the short story. Can you tell me what the state of the American short story currently is?
I think the state of the American short story, is very strong. I mean, there's certainly, feelings that it's often a bit easier to publish a novel than a collection of short stories. But then on the other hand, a lot of short stories collections are published every year in the States, and it's very common for them to, win major awards and be widely reviewed. Two of the finalists for the Pulitzer Prize this year were collections of short stories by Lydia Millett and Danielle Manudin. So I think that definitely speaks to the strength and the interest of the short story in America. And we have a very vibrant culture of literary magazines. There are tons and tons of excellent literary magazines in the States, and those publications are huge promoters of the short story.
I agree, definitely. Well, the story that you read with us for us this evening, I really loved. I loved the slightly surreal elements and the way that they were married with the sort of workaday, slightly tawdry side. It felt a little bit like these people were almost living out a sort of tawdry fantasy, so a bit seedy almost. How important do you think the surreal is as a tool for the short story writer? Well,
that's a very interesting question. I love all kinds of stories. I love, stories in the very realist tradition of Alice Munro or William Trevor, and I love more experimental work and everything in between. For me, I'm really interested in examining the space between sort of the real in the traditional sense and the unreal or the surreal, and I feel like sometimes in real life that's where life happens, in those in-between moments.
Great. Okay, well, just to finish, what would winning the Frank O'Connor Prize mean to you?
Oh, well, I mean, it would be a tremendous honor, and it would be immensely thrilling, and I think I just don't know how I would even put it into words. It would be so thrilling. But that said, it's thrilling to be here, and it's thrilling to be shortlisted, and for me, I feel like I have already gotten my prize in that sense.